So here we have our Talent Stacker org created to track the status of members throughout their progress in the Talent Stacker program. This here is the homepage that contains our dashboards to show some important metrics of the program for the user. So continuing on here to the leads, we've got some leads in the queue here, some potential members. Once they are converted to an actual member, we'll have a lot more information to go on here. But basically, this is just the stage where a individual has shown interest in the Talent Stacker program, and we begin working the case. So once they are marked as complete and they are then converted, they become a full member. So let's go ahead and just open up a member here. We've got Kristen Whittle, and Kristen Whittle joined Talent Stacker program back in July of 2023. They are a premium membership level. They have a high commitment score, and this is calculated on, several factors depending on, certain volunteer work, organization participation, things such as this. So Kristen is actually certified, has completed all of the LinkedIn and mock interview bundle upcharge program options. They have completed an interview, they've given feedback on said interview, and most of this information is self-reported. So we definitely rely on self-reporting for the member to have a filled out, information record page. So moving on here to the next stage of the path here. So once we fill out their membership start date, give them a Trailhead profile, and mark them as a member on our Facebook group, we can go ahead and mark them as complete for the status. Then we move on automatically to the LinkedIn phase. Here's where we would input their LinkedIn profile. We would mark them as having completed their things, which we know Kristen already did. We would input the necessary information here for when that was completed, and then a link to the actual video of said review. Then we would go ahead and move on to the next step for this member, keep them moving right along the path. This is the study group achievement for a member, basically to mark that they have began studying for their certification. And once said certification is ready to be tested for, the study group would then be marked as completed. We would file the study group away here as an achievement. As you can see, it is a record type. You would choose said record type and fill in the appropriate information. Then completing that, going on to the next step, we've got the certified step. You go ahead and mark that they are in fact certified, that the date that they completed their certification, and their certification verification email. So that email you would go ahead and copy. You would select the certification verification button. That button will take you to one screen. And this is where you would put that information in for, just verifying that they are indeed a verified, certified member of Salesforce. Moving on over to the next step on this path, the member, once they are marked as certified and they've completed that, there's actually another option to mark them as certified in another area. So say they've got a different achievement that's not just the administrator certification. Say we want to acknowledge that they gained an additional certification, and let's give them the Slack admin certification. You would fill that in, select said date, and save that as an achievement on their member record. So moving on to the next step, we've then got Experience Project. This marks the start of the member's path to get the experience needed to work a real world opportunity, to get some experience under their belt, feel comfortable with the platform, get really, their hands dirty in the org, kind of figure things out from start to finish, and say that they've got some real experience figuring, problem solving and working as a group. So here in this experience project group section, once that is initiated, same as the study group step, you would go ahead and mark that they've had an achievement of a study of an experience project group. Here, you'll go ahead and fill that information in. And lastly, this is the demo link that you'll fill in to where when their experience project has been completed, that is where you will be able to go back and review that expert, that project that they've been working on to become experts. So go ahead and mark this as completed. Moving on to the mock interview phase. So the mock interview phase is actually an upsell. It is a premium bundle opportunity for paid members. And once they complete that, it is meant to really help them get their foot in the door with the skills necessary to ace an interview, to absolutely showcase their skill and really blow, the interviewer away. So here we've got the mock interview review video. You can go into that. And this information is all accessible on the member record page under member info. As we viewed earlier, here it is for full picture. And this is just, easier way of viewing it, kind of keep it in the key fields to make sure that the key information is getting filled in along the way of the path. So once that is then complete, go ahead and mark them there. Move on to job interview. Here's where they can start explaining their experiences with job hunting, their feedback, and if there is more than one job that they've interviewed, there's more room down here to fill in further information. But the more information, the better. That really helps, Talent Stacker as a program kind of get a better gauge on the results of their program and to give better stats going forward to future members. So once that job interview is conducted and the member self-reports this information, you can go ahead and move them on to the next step. And hopefully this is cause for celebration. Hopefully that member has landed that job and has been able to showcase their skill and their expert ability in a certain region of the platform. Maybe they have a niche skill in something and, they were recognized for that. So moving on to the job landed, we'll go ahead and select if there is an achievement for job landed, and then they can tell you whether they have, gotten a job at what company, what their job role is, and if you're fortunate enough as a manager to receive the salary information from that member, then you can go ahead and input that here, and that'll only help the metrics for Talent Stacker even more, just to go ahead and, kind of give better, more accurate averages of what members nowadays entering the job field are receiving. So one feature that I would like to point out here in the organization, outside of opportunities and cases, the usual features in Salesforce, we do have an at-risk feature here. We're saying there is a member who is at risk of not completing or not finishing this program to the necessary required level. We can go ahead and mark them as at risk. You would select the date that they were marked at risk, and then for which reason were they marked at risk. In this case, this member achieved all of these objects within a reasonable amount of time, but for the purpose of this explanation, let's go ahead and select that this member maybe didn't obtain their certification within the first 3 months. So we'll go ahead and choose that, save that, and then that member has now been marked as at risk, and this will then populate a banner on their page. So this right here will identify them as at risk. Now there has been a task created for the system admin to show that that member is at risk and that that person could use some contact, could use some affection, some attention, and get some help really kind of getting back on track there. Another feature that we like to include here is to have the progress report be able to be pulled up at any given point. So let's say that this member gets a job interview and that the interviewer is really interested in this person and would like to contact Talent Stacker to see how this member contributed during their time and what their participation was and how successful they were. We can go ahead and print up a progress report. Said progress report can be loaded to go ahead and pull up some of their most pertinent information regarding that member. All right, and as that document is then created, we will have access on a dime to all of the necessary information as a member, as a manager of Talent Stacker, the program, to go ahead and report to that hiring manager all of the necessary information. So if that member, when they joined, what their, commitment score was, how dedicated they were, how active they were as a member, if they were at risk or if they were successfully completing their steps in a relatively reasonable amount of time. If they completed each of their processes, making sure that they were able to see through their work. And if, the most important, that they are indeed certified. So we basically want to have this information accessible at any given point so that we can really make sure that we're giving all of the necessary information to the people who need it. So this has been a review and a rundown on the recent Talent Stacker program that myself and my group completed. And it has been great getting to review all of the amazing skill and technical work that we've been able to put together in a very short amount of time, all of the client requirements that we were able to meet, and to have a happy client at the end of this. So thank you for sharing your time and I hope that you appreciated all of the work that we've put forth.